Hey guys, this is Sniper Wolf 1001 here with another unboxing video. Now, as you can see here, I picked up in the mail recently the ThreeA Metal Gear Ray, and I'm actually pretty excited to unbox this because I actually pre-ordered this thing several months ago, and as some of you may already know, I'm a pretty big Metal Gear Solid fan. For those of you who aren't familiar with the channel, I actually did a review of the 3A Metal Gear Rex a while back. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll link it in the description so you guys can see that review and see what that's all about. But I'm pretty excited that I now have the 3A Metal Gear Ray. Like as of 2014, November 2014, the 3A Metal Gear Rays are finally available, and I'm actually pretty happy to finally have Ray along with Rex to just just complete the collection. So in this video, I'm just going to do an unboxing and a review of the figure. So I'm probably going to fast forward through the unboxing bit a little bit because it's a pretty big box. Alright, so here we go. Out of the delivery box, we have the actual box that Ray is sitting in. And again, just like the 3A Metal Gear Rex box, it's very stylized, looks very nice. You can see we have like artwork of Ray there. Of course, tactical espionage action, Metal Gear Solid there. If we rotate the box around, um, the box actually has some details, a little information about Ray. I don't know if you guys can read that, but it says stuff like type amphibious, bipedal tank, origin United States, conflict Shadow Moses incident, liquid ocelot, all that cool stuff. So they have some pretty interesting, like some bio and details about the figure on the box. And on this side, another detailed image of Ray here. Pretty cool looking artwork here. This box looks pretty aesthetic. Probably a box you want to keep. But yeah, like has kind of like a metallic-y look to it as well, which is kind of cool. And on this side, again, more artwork of Ray kind of jumping in the air. And just like the Metal Gear Rex box, at the top we have more exclamation marks. Alright, so let's keep going through this. Alright, so right at the top of that box, we have the stand base, a very large stand base for Ray. As you can see, like just as a quick size comparison with the box here, you can just see how large this stand base is. It's pretty damn big, which makes sense. Ray's going to be pretty sizable if Rex is any indicator of that. And then of course right here, I guess it's just going to be another instruction manual. Of course, more artwork of Ray on the front. So let me just open this up real quick. So of course, when we flip through this, it'll be showing you a lot of the features and mechanics on Ray with the legs and a lot of the moving joints and whatnot. Apparently there are some buttons that you can press to try to move some of the body parts around. And then of course there's the opening mouth and the cockpit and whatnot. And then the head. Apparently some mechanic to open up the head there. So a lot of cool stuff in there. And then again out of the top, there's the stand arm. And of course, like, this is a pretty beefy stand arm for sure. Of course, Ray is going to be pretty heavy, like I mentioned before, so it's going to need a lot of reinforcement with this big stand arm. So, right out of all the packaging, here we finally have the 3A Metal Gear Ray. I'm probably going to have to hold on to him for a little bit until I get him up on the stand, because he's not going to stand up by himself on those suction cup feet. But just taking a look at the figure, like, Ray is just absolutely massive. And again, just like Rex, there's a lot of detail. You know, you can expect that 3A level of quality here. you can see like right here on the leg, you have like the outer haven marking there on the leg. You also have it on the arms as well too. And then looking at the foot, you can see that the feet is very finely detailed right there. You can see you have that nice suction cup foot design there. And then, again, like, just to show off the material of the suction cup, you can see, like, you can squish it. You know, it has that material that's very different from the rest of the figure, which is pretty nice. I like that detail there at the foot. Alright, so getting back onto the stand arm. The stand arm, this is pretty much how the stand arm works. So you can see right here on these little circles, these are actually buttons on here. So normally the stand arm is locked, right? You can't move it at all. But then once you actually depress those buttons down, you can actually release the locks on the stand arm. So just like this, so you press it and then you can just adjust it open, just like that. And it moves pretty freely once you release it. And yeah, that's essentially how you work the stand arm. Alright, so when it comes to posing Ray up on the stand, Ray actually has a bit of a hidden compartment just underneath the body here. So Ray's a little heavy, but if you can see right there, there's actually a latch there that you can pull down on. So yeah, like once you pull the latch out, it exposes just a little pocket there underneath the body where you can have Ray sit on top of a slot on top of the stand arm. So just like that, you can see Ray is sitting right here, and it's pretty stable. So when it comes to articulation on this figure, Ray has a lot of these little circles on the body here. And what they actually want you to do, it's actually kind of a unique mechanic when you compare this to Rex. But some of these circles actually act as buttons, which allow you to move the different parts of the body. So, for example, if you actually wanted to move the left arm here, there's a button right there, where if you depress that in, it'll actually allow you to move the arm up. So just like that. And of course there's this little flap here. You can move that around. It actually like snaps into position, like it has like that low position and the position right up against it. And then the underbody of Ray's wing is actually very, very heavily detailed as well too. You can see like it has like a very shiny, almost like metallic-y brown underneath there. Or it kind of looks like watered down wood, something like that, but it looks really nice. Now, for articulating the wing a little bit more, I believe right now the wing goes up about that high. I believe that is the highest point for the wing. So yeah, that's some pretty good movement there with the wing. And then I think that's the lowest point there. And then now for some more articulation on the wing. You can of course rotate the arms around as well too. You can just do a complete 360 on them. So you actually don't need a button for this. You can actually just rotate it just by yourself. And then, yeah, it snaps into each position. It locks in pretty tightly. And then taking a look back onto the face again, there's a lot of very like fine details here. Like there's a lot of, it makes it look like it's worn, like it's been through a couple battles. Like you can see right here on the brown parts here, there's a lot of scarring and kind of like scratch marks and maybe scorch marks and stuff here, which look pretty cool. Alright, so onto head movement. Ray's head has 3 different positions that I can snap into. So one to each side and then to the middle. So it has about like 3 points of movement. So, and it just locks into place nicely. And then for up and down movement, I don't believe it can go any higher than that, but then you can drop the head down about that far. So right here with Ray, when it comes to articulating the leg, you can see that there's more of these buttons here on the connecting part there. One of these is supposed to be a button which will allow you to rotate the leg around. I believe that... Oh, right here. So that button, if you can see it properly, that button right on the edge, right about there, is what allows you to do that. So just as a demonstration, you can see right as you depress that button, you can rotate the leg right there. And then, of course, you can keep going. You can rotate the leg completely around. There's a lot of movement that you can do here once you have that button depressed. But as you can see, like, you can almost have Ray completely outstretched on the stand base as if it's about to dive into water. And then here, this big circular green button here, if you press that in, that actually allows you to move the lower part of the leg. So just right there, you can see it slides right down, and then right there, I believe is the lowest point for the leg. And then, like, the lowest part, I guess you could say the foot, that has some movement as well too. You could see that right here, I believe it's at its highest point, and then when you drop it down like that, that would be the middle position, and then right there would be the lowest point for the foot. So there's a lot of points of movement on the leg in each individual section, which is actually pretty good articulation for this. And then now for articulation of the tail actually has some movement points as well too. You can see, like, right there, that would be the, I guess, the highest point for the tail. And then you can adjust it downward like that. I don't believe, it doesn't really have any locking points, so you can just move it freely. So right here on the back of Ray's spine, just behind the head, there's a button here that you can press to adjust the spine a little bit. Which, once you press that down, you can actually extend the back like that. So you can just see that the back is completely extended. And then there's another section here at the lower end of the spine that you can pull out, just like that. So you can extend two different parts of the back out on Ray's body. So once you have the back completely extended out, you can actually rotate Ray's torso like that. And of course you can do it both sides, but you definitely have a lot of variance to how you can adjust the top portion of Ray's body, which is pretty cool. Now here, which is another cool detail I noticed, was right on the inside of the wing, there are like 3 slotted sections here, which of course that would be for the machine guns, like the Vulcan machine guns that Ray has, which is a pretty cool small detail there. And then now onto more articulation of the head. There are these 2 buttons here that they want you to use to try to open up the cockpit. So I'm not really the biggest fan of the button mechanic, because, like, what's supposed to happen is everything should drop down, like the mouth should drop down, and it'll open up the mouth and whatnot. But I found that every time I try to do it, it doesn't really work that well, so usually I would just open up the mouth, like the jaw and everything out just by manually. Because you can see here, as I press the button open, it doesn't really do a whole lot. It kind of opens up that one flap, but it doesn't really work all that much, so usually I just pull it open myself. Just like that. And then taking a look at Ray's mouth when it's completely open, again, just like the rest of the figure, it's very heavily detailed. You can see the water cutter right there just underneath the cockpit. You can see, like, there's a lot of scarring or, like, weathering on the inside of the mouth here. There's a lot of, like, brown spots that look like it's very worn down from, you know, being underwater and stuff, which is actually pretty cool. I like how they went that extra mile there for the detail in the mouth. But yeah, there's a lot of movability on, like, the jaw and, like, I guess you could say the cheeks of it too. So if you want to close it up, you can just put the chin in, and then you close the sides right over it, just like that. And then onto opening up the cockpit canopy. You can see we have like the glass canopy right here. You can move it up a little bit, but again, they want you to still use the buttons to open up the cockpit, but again, I feel that it doesn't really work that well for me. So I just do the same thing that I do for the mouth and the jaw. So I'm just gonna see if I can get this open real quick. You can see that this back portion, just right behind the canopy, this opens up, which once you get that open, this allows you to open up the glass canopy a lot easier. There are also these little side panels here too, which you can kind of pull those little panels out as well. And I think that should make opening the canopy easier, just like that. And then taking a look onto the inside of the cockpit, there is a lot of detail here, and this is pretty much what it looks like once it's completely open. But right in there, you can see that there's a lot of moving parts in here as well too. You can see that this part here, which would be, I guess, the headrest for the cockpit, that moves all the way up like that. The control panel in the front, that actually moves as well too. You can see right here, you can just push it down, move it up a little bit as well too. So there's a lot of moving parts with the head and the cockpit. So right up in here, right on the side of the head, there's a little switch here, which, just like Rex, if you put in some batteries, there's some batteries that fit into the back of the head, which I already put some in. I think it takes like, it takes three AG13 batteries. So like those small cylindrical batteries that you can just slide in there, and then once you flip that switch, it turns the lights right on. And there we go. And it looks pretty cool. And just taking a quick look into the cockpit, you can just see that the cockpit is just completely illuminated by that lighting effect there. The control panel is lit up. You can see the eyes lit up from the inside. And of course, if you pull up the headrest, you can just see like the seat and everything in the back there is just completely illuminated. You can see the cockpit control panel is very, very bright. So it's a really nice effect that they have going on here. Pretty much just like with Metal Gear Rex. So again, just looking at the head again, with the lights on, with the cockpit canopy closed, you can see that you have the eyes there. And of course, the cockpit glass canopy shield is just completely lit up. And yeah, it's a very nice looking effect for sure. So I'll just turn off the lights completely so you can see what this looks like in complete darkness. Alright, so now that the lights are completely off, you can see what Ray looks like in complete darkness. You can just see that beautiful lighting effect here. And you can see it looks really nice. Like the entire top portion is completely illuminated, which is really nice. And again, just opening up the cockpit canopy again, you can see just how bright that control panel is and all of the lights on the inside. Comparing the lighting effect to Rex, I do like Rex's a bit more because there's a lot more stuff Rex has going on and Rex is a lot brighter. But I won't really fault Ray for this one. It still is a nice lighting effect despite it being not as bright. And here is just a quick little scene with my ThreeA Rex and ThreeA Ray standing and facing each other as if they're about to engage in a big battle. And it is just really cool having these two massive figures from the series that I really love just right here, right next to each other. It's pretty cool. And then here, with the lights off, this is just kind of demonstrating the lighting effect again. This is kind of going on what I said before when I was talking about how Rex's lights are a lot brighter than Ray. You can just see that in the darkness, Rex's lights just completely light the entire back section of Ray up. Like, Rex's lights are very overpowering. Like, the lighting effect is just so much more impressive than Ray's is. But yeah, having these two like lit up in the darkness is just a really nice effect. And then of course here's just showing the railgun again. And here is just a quick size comparison between the 3A Ray and 3A Rex, and you can just get a good idea of how massive Ray is in comparison to Rex. You can just see how it just towers over Rex. It has a really long wingspan, so it's really wide. It's a really hulking figure. Granted, my Rex isn't standing all the way up. I think if I had it standing all the way up, it could come close to Ray, maybe even match it, but Ray is still a very big figure.
Alright, so that should cover everything for Ray. Now for my final thoughts. Now, just like the 3A Metal Gear Rex, I thought that 3A did a pretty damn good job modeling Ray. Like, this is just the perfect companion figure to go along with the 3A Rex. Like, you definitely want to have this if you have Rex. Like, it just completes the collection, and both figures just very good together. But when it comes to actually analyzing the figure, in terms of visuals, I thought that Ray looked really good. Like, the paint job, the kind of metallic-y greenish blue that Ray had all over its body, as well as the brown spots, like underneath the wing, how it had, it almost looked like watered down wood, or like a metallic-y kind of brown. Like, that stuff under the wing and on the brown spots of the body looked really good. I also really liked how they designed the little circular panels all over Ray's body there too. And just like Rex, they made the figure look very unpure, more realistic, like with all of the little scorched marks, the little scarring and scratches and stuff on the body to make it look very gritty, very realistic, like it was actually used in battles and stuff like that. Like, even when you open up the mouth had what appeared to be like weathering from being underwater, since after all, Ray is an amphibious Metal Gear. So I thought that the visuals were just amazing on Ray, like down pat everything. When it came to articulation, Ray was pretty good in that regard too, because the arms, you could move the arms up really high, you could rotate them all the way around. The legs had some good movability. Like, if you wanted to, you could actually pose Ray out completely horizontally on top of the base and make it look like he's about to dive into the water. Like, Ray has quite a lot of movement, like his legs can rotate all around. As well as the legs having two different points of movements, like the feet, like the bottom leg being able to move independently of the knee and the thigh area. That was pretty cool. And I also really like the suction cup feet. Like, while Ray can't stand up by himself, the suction cup material was kind of nice. It kind of offsetted the material that they mostly used around the figure, which was nice. In terms of flaws, one thing that I didn't like about Ray is I wasn't a big fan of the button mechanic. The thing that they used to actually allow you to move the parts around, I didn't really like that at all, because I found that half the time it didn't really work, and sometimes the figure, like the pieces on the figure, just felt too stiff to the point where sometimes it felt that the buttons didn't actually work. Even when I was doing the head articulation earlier on, where there were those two buttons and they wanted you to press those to open up the mouth and, release the cockpit canopy and stuff like that, I never got those to work for me, so I wasn't a very big fan of the button mechanic. I kind of just opened parts up manually, but there are some parts on the body where you're forced to use the button mechanic for articulation and stuff like that, so for me personally, I would put that as a flaw there, because I just don't really like the button mechanic. I don't exactly know how they would do it without those, but yeah, it wasn't really something that I enjoyed doing on the figure. Like, it was kind of difficult to move Ray's body parts, and his body parts are very stiff too. I think that's really it when it comes to flaws. There wasn't really anything else apart from the button mechanic there. But yeah, like the lighting effect, I really loved, even though it wasn't as impressive to look at when you compare it to Rex, it was still nice. Like, the lights shined very brightly, the cockpit looked very nice, like the control panel, the eyes and everything. The lighting mechanic was just very good. But yeah, like, I'm very happy that I picked up Ray, and it's definitely perfect for me. Like I said before, like, I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan, so having both these massive, heavily detailed figures of Rex and Ray, like, all together in my room, like, it's just perfect. One thing that would have been interesting to see is if they actually modeled a mass-produced Ray instead of the Ray that Liquid uses. Mainly because I would have loved to see how they would have modeled a Ray with a longer tail instead of the stubby-tailed Ray. Like, I would have really loved to see how they would have gone about doing the flexibility and, like, the length of the tail. Like, it would definitely increase Ray's size a hell of a lot more, and, like, it would just make it look a lot better, in my opinion, if it had, like, a longer tail. But, one thing I would definitely love to see is a Desperado Ray. Like, in my opinion, the Desperado Ray from Metal Gear Rising, that's, like, the best looking Ray, in my opinion. Like, it's not just simply a recolor. Like, it is black and red, which is, like, a pretty cool paint scheme, but it also looks a bit different. Like, it has turrets and stuff like that on its shoulders, and it would have been neat to see how they would have replicated turning his right arm into, like, a giant sword and stuff like that. Like, I would have definitely loved to see a Desperado Ray. Like, that would be something I'd look forward to. So, like, again, like I said with the Rex review, this is a very expensive figure, and you should only try to get this if you're a big Metal Gear Solid fan and you have the money. This is gonna run you down quite a few $100s, and yeah, this pretty much draws this review to a conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed it, I hope you found it informative, and I'll see you guys later.